Hello and welcome to the Jameson Files. I'm Carrie Weber. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us for another Jameson Files episode. We're so grateful that you are a part of our Jameson Files community. If you haven't already subscribed to follow us in the podcast channels, you can do so anywhere you listen to podcasts. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, we're all there. You can also watch us. You may be joining us via live stream on our Jameson Facebook page now. You can also watch the recordings on our Facebook page as well as the Jameson YouTube channel. So thank you once again for joining us. Please do invite your dental peers and friends to join along as well. We want to make sure we're providing great education, inspiration, and content just for you and your dental journey. I'm so excited to be joined by a good friend, a Jameson client, and an amazing dentist, Dr. Todd Christy from Michigan. Dr. Christy has two practices in Michigan, one in St. Joseph and one in Berrien Springs, and he's been practicing for 25 years. Today, he and I are going to talk about a pretty fun subject, social media, and how social media matters for you in your communities for your dental practice. So Dr. Christy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Carrie, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of your podcast.
You know, we have known each other for several years now, and I'm not even sure. I was trying to think this morning of how long we have known each other. I'm not sure, but do you recall?
Coming up on 10 here pretty soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, through that, I have followed your journey, and you have been such a fun presence on social media for your dental practices over the years. So I appreciate the chance to pick your brain because we at Jameson, you know, we do a lot in the marketing realm, as you know, and are firm believers in making the most of the channels and resources that we have available to us in our businesses. Dental practice is not excluded. So, but first, I would love to have you share just a little bit. Can you share with our audience a little of your dental journey and how you started in dentistry and how you found yourself where you are today in your practicing life?
Well, I know it's surprising for me, graduating 25 years ago from University of Detroit and moving out to a small town. I grew up in a big city outside of Detroit and moved out to the small town with 2 stoplights, got my dental license on a Tuesday, bought the practice on a Friday, and got married 2 weeks later. So it's always a busy season there in the fall. Yeah, there was a lot going on back in '96. But within that, through the years, through acquiring practices, through the 25 years, acquiring 4 other practices, merging them into our original, the office I'm sitting in now, which is an 8-operatory facility here in Berrien Springs. And then 7 years ago this September, my partner and I, Eric, we bought another practice, but he wanted to sell the building. And so we bought and now have 2 locations. And so, and now we've merged again. We brought another dentist in. So we now have 3 dentists in our fold within the Berrien dental ranks. And it's fabulous to work in a group practice. I never thought I'd get into that, but it really is great to have those assets and other team members. So each of us in the group practice has their own kind of specialty areas that we cover. And for me, I for some reason have been honed in on the social media and team training, which I learned a lot from working with you and the team there at Jameson. And it's been fabulous for me to enjoy it and pushing me to learn more things through the years. But the social media for me is one that I enjoy and always trying to do better.
You know, when I look at your social media channels and your content that you post, you have this great combination that I love. It's a combination of education and it's a combination of fun that I believe represents your personality and more than likely your practice personality. When you really started getting serious about your social media as an arm of communication for you and outreach to your community, what were and what continue to be your primary goals of what you hope to accomplish through your efforts?
Well, I think you're right. And we try and have a blend there of not only the clinical side, which every dentist, assistant, hygienist will talk about ad nauseum. The problem is that's not always what's going to connect with people, and we wanted to be able to connect with our patients. But more so for me, I've looked and learned over the last few years, more looking at what the culture is of our practice. In the last weeks, we've hired new team members, and I said, well, please go stalk us on Facebook or Instagram or look at the website, because I want you to understand what the culture is at what we have here at the office.
Yes.
But I know when we went too far clinical with stuff, it got a little bit too boring, because the one thing about social media that I've learned is it's social, and people want to be
That's
able to
right.
respond to something. And I wanted to make sure when we look at anything, like for the way our team works on things, even now after I want to say 10 plus years that we've been on with doing things, I still, before I post anything and hit send, I always just read it to somebody else to make sure it sounds right. So it's still on brand. Even though my name's on the sign and that, I still want to make sure we're sticking to what our core is and what our culture is. And that's a big thing for me as to how I focus on it.
I love that. And I love that you say, wanting to make sure that it's still on brand. I couldn't agree with you more in terms of the social media arm of any practice or any business's efforts really has to bring those values, the personality, that DNA that makes you special to life. I always like to say that it's like giving everyone a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to be with you and to connect with you. So I love that piece. What do you do in terms of, are you really the one that's creating all of that content for you? Do you work together as a team? How do you come up with fresh ideas in an ongoing way?
It takes a few of us in here. Everyone is pressed into service at some point in some manner. I actually remember last week we had a post, because obviously I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, and Star Wars Day on May the 4th, I'm sorry, is going to be in there every year. We had a new assistant who joined us, and guess what? She's holding a lightsaber in a dual battle on May the 4th, and it was her first day in the office. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah, and that's why. And they said, just do it. You're going to have fun. It is about having fun. But how we get back to the whole part, like for how I started with it all those years ago, I was more pulling stuff off of Pinterest, putting basic posts, not getting responses, and for me, I want to get the responses somebody engages with. We know that of everything that we post on, whether it's Instagram, more so Facebook, that, what is it? I want to say 6 to 12% might be seen by all those people who like us on our page. That's it.
Right.
But the more they engage, the more they'll see it. And so I wanted to make sure that they're going to like it. I'd love it if they'd share it. And more importantly, I love it when they comment, because we're going to get more from it. And then they're going to see us more, and their friends might see it too. And so I really want to put on things that people can interact with and be social with. But like on our team, so with our two offices, our team right now is at 23 of us. I have a social media team within the practice. So we have 5, including myself. And so we kind of dole out at the beginning of the month who's going to do what. We just had it yesterday at our team meeting for this month. So I can hand off and don't have to do it all, because I do get a little stressed when I'm trying to shoot videos or do whatever. But also, by having them, it's people who come up with new ideas. A new hygienist who joined us last year had a great idea that we're going to be working on this month. But I think I have not only our team, we use with Jameson with marketing. And so using the product that your team has, that picks up more stock. And so if we have a lull where we're not getting as much personal posts, because our post, I want pictures of our team, pictures of the office. We've had pictures with patients in the past, so it connects with people. But I wanted to make sure we got those, because those are where people click and they're like, oh, my friend was in it, or they like it and share it. That's where it comes from. It's not from a stock like I used to do that I did enjoy. Was like on Monday, it was a quote about the word smile. And I went 2 years, we never had a repost. I don't want repost. I want custom. And then we started doing some fun, and then we used another outside source for getting content ideas. And that's within the dental industry. And so we use their material, but we make it our personal one. I don't want to take someone else's stock and more load stock. People don't engage with it. They look at it. They might share it. They might laugh, but they don't engage. I want engagement.
You make a lot of great points in all of that, Dr. Christy. Is number one, to have a social media champion on your team, such as you may be the social media champion for your practice, but you also have team members that are supporting you, so that it doesn't fall to just one person alone to come up with that content. And you have your team, you have us, you have and a lot of things that can continue to drive you forward and give you all that fresh, great content to keep your audience, your patients, your community engaged with you. Because just like you said, there may be only a small percentage of the people that follow your page that actually get to see the post, but if they engage with you, if they connect with the content, then they're going to see more and more of what you're putting out there. And so for you to have that great combination of that personal touch, the photos, the videos, all of those things that people really connect with, then when you do want to hit them with something educational or direct them to your website or give them more information about the practice, they're more than likely to see and engage with that as well, because you are giving them such great fresh content and doing that team approach to make sure that that one person doesn't have to feel that's on their shoulders alone to keep that train running, right?
Well, that's the truth. And obviously last year with the challenges with the COVID shutdown we had of 9 weeks, we didn't have a lot of unique new posts. It was quiet. The office was quiet.
Yeah,
but we came out of it trying not to be quiet. We're not out there banging drums and running down the street, but we wanted to have it so it's still stuck with what our culture always has been, which made it easy. We can't be something we're not. But like I look at it, and if somebody clicks through and finds us, I know that I've never looked at social media, and I think when I went into it, I thought, oh, this is how you're going to generate new patients. You funnel your money into it, and no, you funnel your passion into it, and people will find you. We ask patients, hey, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. In our office, we do have that around. Follow us, and I can't tell you the number of times. Well, a few days I get excited about what's coming up, and I'll tell people this is what's coming. You follow us on Facebook. Well, you need to, and so we'll kind of push people. But it's something they'll pull up their phone and follow us right then. They might stop following us and they walk out of the room. I don't care. At least they follow us for a little bit. But I've never looked at social media as a way to generate new patients, a way to keep our existing patients, and so they remember it. We had a huge post last week, and we just started doing it. Was celebrating a work anniversary, and for one of our team members, it's her 19th anniversary, put it in there, and she texted me about how great it felt to see the notes that people posted about her. We're so excited for Judy after 19 years, still here. We have others that are coming up. I know we have one of our hygienists. She'll have a 25th anniversary in July, and so it's a family, and it's this, it still goes back to our culture, and, walking in each day with a positive attitude, but more so sharing that with everybody else. And that's what we try. Like I said, it's fun, it's culture, it's a good thing on social media. And that part is, and like you said, it does, when we do have to do something maybe heavy, talk about flossing, we have a post that we are going to film coming up. So if folks are watching, you can please follow our page. I'd love to have more followers on there and comment. But the ideas that they had was a terrific one on flossing, and the hygienist, we kind of split up into teams one day at a team meeting. I said, here's what I want. Give me what you got. And we had 3 different teams of hygienists coming back with an idea on how to teach flossing in a fun way. And it involved water hoses. Yeah, so watch out. I didn't want to get wet in November in Michigan. Not the time to get hosed down.
Not the time for that idea. No. There's a right time for that. I love that, just engaging the team. And that has to be, I know it has to be fun for your team to be a part of that and to think creatively together. Something I also love that you shared just then is, your intention behind your presence there, and what you want to accomplish with it, and what you want to people to feel if they find themselves on the page. You want them to feel the passion that you have, and to feel what it would feel like to be a part of your patient family, and all of your intention and focus goes into accomplishing that. And I think that's such a great place to live, in what purpose social media can serve for you. Number one, yes, it can bring you new patients. It's a place when people refer friends on social media. They may find themselves for the first time getting to know you through whatever is present on those social media channels for you. But at the same time, we want our patients engaged with us there for that reason, right? To not only stay connected with you, but to give them a tool to talk about you, which I think can be so powerful. Dr. Christy, I know that you do a great deal with the Michigan Dental Association. You volunteer with them, you present for them, you've done quite a few presentations for them in the past 1 or 2 years, and you actually presented on social media, have you not, for them?
Yes.
And I'm curious, when you are in conversations with your fellow MDA members and friends in the industry, what do you feel like what are you recommending to them if they are trying to figure out, how can I be better at this? What purpose does this serve for me in my practice? What are you kind of recommending to them in these conversations as the first steps to take?
Well, I'll tell you, what I learned in the beginning was don't do it yourself, find a team. I know one of my friends up in the Upper Peninsula, we got talking about it, and they're, well, we have a page, but we don't do a lot. And it's a smaller team. Not everyone, it's just to scale, for what we have. And if you can find 1 or 2 people in a smaller office that, one, have Facebook, know how to post to Facebook, well, there's a great starting point. The one thing that I will always push and recommend is creating a monthly calendar, picking out days of the week. Don't try and do 14 posts a week. It's not, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to say, I can't do this anymore, and you get stressed out.
Right.
It goes back a little bit what my hygienist sometimes will cringe when I say it, because we'll have those patients come in that do a semi-annual flossing the day before they come in for a hygiene visit. And I'm like, look, don't stress yourself out. If you say, I'm going to do it 7 days a week, and by the 3rd day you quit, you're going to give up on doing it. Say, I'm going to do it 3 days a week. That's going to be 3 more days than you normally would every week.
Right.
And so maybe say we're going to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's a lot of resources that are out there. Obviously, I know, and the folks there from Jameson have helped us with what we've looked at. There's other sources as well. But saying, we're going to be consistent. I've looked at, and I've gone through and trying to learn this process. I've looked at other pages, a lot of other pages. I love looking at pages in my own area because it makes me feel good, but it also makes me say, all right, they're looking at us. We got to bring our game up another notch and keep going. But when you see posts that they posted 4 months ago, the previous one was 6 months ago, the consistency is there. And they might have a bunch of followers, but they're doing nothing. And so what does that say? I look at it and say, let's have our content. So if somebody clicks on one and says, oh, that was cute, I'll go look at others, and suddenly they see other products. That's a good thing. But if you can be consistent, set a calendar, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The advantage, obviously, with Facebook is you can post those ahead. That's one nice thing. But I would say calendar first. Figure out your team, figure out your calendar, and then figure out the roles and who's going to do what and when. Just like everything, we know our why. I remember from previous podcasts, I know why we do it, but then you got to answer all those other questions that we have. And so by having a team, and bring it up so the whole team knows why you're doing it, but then see who else wants to jump in. There's a number of people on the team who I've voluntold. I've learned that from Michigan Dental. Voluntold. Here's what you're going to do. In the practice of that, we can do with a smile. I'm a whole lot happier, and we do get a lot out of it that way.
Yeah, and if you have team members that are, Dr. Christy, you're unique in the fact that you are the champion of your social media efforts for your practice. But for a lot of practices, there's a team member that loves social media. There's somebody on your team that more than likely could do this and do it very well. It doesn't have to be the doctor if you don't want to be that person. It doesn't have to be the office manager if you don't feel comfortable leading it. It could be one of your clinical assistants. It could be someone on the team that already in their personal lives loves social media and knows the ins and outs of the tool. And I love that you said that you voluntold, because having other team members play a role. Would you agree that it could be an opportunity to broaden for a team member their roles and responsibilities in a really creative way that can make what may be the usual customary routine of the day? It could give them a new, fresh addition to their roles that they could really enjoy. Would you agree with that?
I would. It's a leadership responsibility. You're teaching leadership. You're mentoring leadership, not teaching. You're hopefully mentoring it and allowing them to blossom and find a way they can do it. I know I've seen it here where in our practice, not on social media as much, but in other venues with younger clinicians, team members who get kind of stressed out about it. I'm like, trust me, after a few years, you'll understand how it really works. As you got to
Yes.
take your time. You can't just say, go do it, and here's why. You got to walk everyone through it. And I think, the leadership responsibility that comes with it is big. But again, if you got
Yes.
the support, most dentists are not the ones who are going to be leading a social media team. I'm not,
Right.
I have no qualms about that. Was I social media before? Not really. I learned it because I knew it was going to have an impact for our practice.
Right.
That's what I looked at it for. Do I
Right.
go on there and post a lot personally at home? No. But most of the people
Yeah.
that I know follow our page and see the stuff that we do here, and that's what I hear most about. Which
Yes.
I'd rather see the practice. The family
Yes.
posts are different. You'll see if you people looked at. We did a quick video for Mother's Day, and I was excited to do that. And we had both my partner Eric and our associate Greg posted videos of their kids saying Happy Mother's Day. And we
Oh,
got a
I
lot of
love that.
response. It was cute. Yeah, that was a fun one to do and put together. But trying to get my two, who are now 18 and 19, together, uh, filming it, and my wife on Mother's Day filmed it so I could tie it all and put a quick video together for that was fun. But
Yeah.
to hear that you get the personal side a lot of times in
Yes.
social media because I'm the one who will do the crazy stuff or the goofy stuff. They always expect me to, but I don't. I'm like, look, the team is the star. I'm not. I'm just here to support them in a lot of ways, and
Yes.
I'll push. But when we get our biggest responses is when when Eric is on there or Greg or something they do, and because people who know them and know the practice know how tough it is for them to do it, but they do it with a smile and they get it.
Yeah.
And they know they're
Yeah.
being tormented by it. And I think people enjoy watching someone else be tormented too, in a
Yes.
nice way.
In a
So,
nice way. Well,
yes.
something that we always speak about, and a lot of times when I'm presenting or teaching, even on the patient experience, one thing that we all can agree on is that we're not just in the business of dentistry. We are in a relationship business. The only way we get to do the dentistry you've worked so hard to do so well is to connect with our patients and build trust and build that level of relationship where they see the value and they see the trust in your practice. And social media can be such a great bridge in continuing that relationship. And I love that your team, that your partners, that you all are willing spirits to be a part of that outlet, to stay connected with your patients, to introduce the who that you are to your community. That's where the opportunities really are available when it comes to how can social media play a role. And one more thing that I love that you said, Dr. Christy, was the consistency piece. And I love that when you're mentoring other dentists about how to get things going, just do something. Start small, even if it's
Right.
one post a week. Progress is progress. Once a week is more than you were doing 6 months ago. So build up your
Yes.
confidence and competence in the tool. But I love the point that you drove home, was that when you go and look at other pages and they're posting maybe once every 4 or 5 months, that inconsistency also is very telling to your patients or to potential patients. And we certainly, if someone finds themselves on your page, we don't want them to think, oh, is this practice still even open? Because you
Right.
just
And
check
that's
the
what you
box
look
by
at, and you're
having
like,
a
what is
page.
it? Yeah, when it
Yeah.
hasn't been touched for 6 months, you're like, oh,
Yes.
that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
what happened. So probably what happened is whoever was doing it left.
Yes.
And that's why. And so that's why by having a team, 2 or 3 for a smaller practice, I know, when there's only 6 or 7, if you have 2 or 3 that you can be your champions and others can fill in, that worked out really well for
Right.
us. There's times we've had a lull. I won't kid you. There's times when we've been so swamped and busy, it's hard to. It's like, all right, we got to push through
Yes.
and do something. Find the right thing and make it
Yes.
simple. A simple picture of holding a
Yes.
sign, folks, is not that hard. It takes you 15 seconds and a minute to post.
Yes, that's right. And, a great example of it is how you were at a team meeting, had your hygienists break up and come up with ideas for how to, a fun way to talk about flossing. I mean, the same thing can be true for anyone that feels stuck or struggling with. The ideas are gone. I don't know what even to post, so I haven't posted in 3 months. prioritize even just 5 minutes of a spontaneous brainstorm as a team at your next team meeting, of everybody just throw every idea you can think of what we could post in the next month, so that it can be this combination of great education, but also that who that you are, that connection, that passion that Dr. Christy's talking about. I think that's a great starting point, is just start coming together as a team, find your champion, and understand that this can be a piece in the puzzle of who you are as a practice and how you reach your community. If you just take the time to prioritize it even just a little bit more than you have in the past. Would you agree with that, Dr. Christy?
Exactly right. Totally agree. Just take your time. It takes time to build everything up, and I think small steps. That's it. One step, and celebrate it. Celebrate your first like. Celebrate your first comment.
Yes.
Why not? That's a big thing. But Carrie, the one thing I didn't mention is when you get comments, like them, or comment back as well. As best we can. We've had giveaways, and we have one team member, we get a whole bunch of likes on a thing. I have one team member who just is assigned to go through and send requests for people to like your page just based on the likes. That's something else we do as well to get more people to follow the page. So
love that.
Yeah, you find your champions and get your folks, but keep it on the agenda for the team meetings. Our team knows that we'll break up and bring stuff to them. I don't always need 23 voices in my head. I have enough on my own already.
Right.
But when we get a team meeting, when we used to do some of our planning when there was 14 of us, it was manageable, but 23 is not as manageable. But that's why having that small group really works. But I think you're right. Everyone involved, everyone knows why you're doing it. That's a good thing, and then you get the buy-in.
That's right. And once you have buy-in, and once you start making it a part of your rhythm and routine, it doesn't feel like this overwhelming mountain to start climbing. It just becomes a part of your habits, of your day-to-day processes. And I believe that's why you've done so well in using it as a tool for your practice, is that you embraced it. You started learning more about it, but in the end, it's just a part of who you are and what you do, just like every other system and process in your practice. It has earned its place on the priority list, and it shows.
Yep. I
So,
appreciate
Dr.
that.
Christy,
I know we work on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it
learning.
shows.
That's where you got to keep learning.
Yeah, so I hope everybody that's listening, go find Dr. Christy and Berrien Dental on Facebook and see the fun that they're having with this tool and how their patients and community are engaging with them. You make it look easy. I know it isn't always that easy, but you certainly make it look that way.
Hey, it takes a village to take care of this crazy one here. I've got great people around me. They make my life great at points, amazing at others, but it really is the whole group puts it together, which I'm lucky enough to have my face on the screen with you today.
Oh, well, Dr. Christy, thank you. Hey, thank you for being with me today and for sharing with everyone your experiences and best practices in social media. You are a great friend, and I appreciate you taking the time to be with me.
Truly, it has been my pleasure. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to be with you, and to all your podcast listeners and watchers as well.
Thank you. And to all of you that are listening or watching, thanks for being with us. I hope you'll jump off of this podcast session and go check out your social media and see what's one thing that you can do this week, and then next week, and then the next. And let's see where your efforts can take you. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Jameson Files. Be well, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Jameson Files. Visit us online at jmsn.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, or Spotify. Do you have questions or topics you'd like for us to answer or cover on the next podcast? Email us at podcast@jmsn.com.